Okay, hi Essi. So what this question is really asking us to look at why we have a difference in our variable, what we thought our variable production overhead expenditure was going to be and what it actually was. So we can call this the actual cost, and we're saying that typically this is driven by two things: price and usage in terms of efficiency, because we're saying that labor hours are causing this. It's driven by labor hours, right? So again, to kind of just put it in perspective, it's not what we're trying to do is separate out clearly what's going on. So we're saying that this could be price or this could be volume. So what we're saying is that if we look at volume, if we focus on volume, we expect it to use a certain number of hours. We expect it to use to pay for each of those hours at a certain price. That's all we're saying, and this is kind of our starting point. This is the amount we thought we would spend in this area, but we ended up typically maybe making too many, and so we have an increase in volume. So this is the difference, the increase in costs now, because we've made too many. But also we could have had an increase in price or decrease in price. It doesn't really matter. But the key point here is that my volume variance, you can see my red line, is about volume, which is why I don't think I treat it on its own. I don't include the price, and my price variance is very much about, and this is the same principle that applies across. If you can get this as a picture, I think you'll be there. So I'll call this P1 and P2. So the key point here is that if I focus on here a little, it says here that overheads, this is about inputs again, right? So this is driven by hours. So this is estimated £20 a unit on the basis of 5 hours at £4, if you like, an hour. So we're doing this on the basis of £4 an hour, and we expect you to use, the question is how many hours do we expect you to use? We expect you to use 5 hours for every unit. For every unit. That's what I expect you to do. So therefore, if you were making 23,000 units, I would expect you to use, if you like, 5 hours times 23,000, 5 hours times 23,000 units. Right, yes, here we are. Actual production for the year, yeah, 23,000 units. That's what I would expect you to use. I use 5 hours times 23,000. 5 hours times 23,000 is, let's see, 5 times 23,000 is 115,000. So I would expect you to use 115,000 hours to make, if you like, to make these 23,000 units. That's what I'm expecting. And I'd expect you to pay £4 for each of those hours, right? So 5 hours per unit at £4 each. That's what I'm expecting. So what do you go and do? You go to make 23,000 units. You go and you use 104 hours. So actually, forget my graph. Think of it this way. Instead of going 115, I'm actually coming inwards. You've actually used 104,000 hours. So just focused on volume alone, you can see the difference in volume, if you like. So ignore this. This was my example to teach you, to show you how to do this. But this is the actual volume difference. So the volume difference, of course, is just the difference, if you like. This question is asking, what is the expenditure? I'm just showing you what the usage is. I'll come to expenditure in a second. But this is just, if you like, this is just usage first, because I'm using this as a teaching tool. So in terms of usage, I'm just interested in the difference of 115 minus 104, which is, in terms of usage, we used 11,000 less hours times £4. And this would have been 44,000. Right? This is usage. That's not what we're asking for, but just to show you. Now, in terms of price, it says that you paid, for these hours, it totaled 390,000. Well, if I'm expecting you to spend £4 an hour, therefore, if you did 104 hours, I'm expecting you, therefore, on 104 hours, if you like, you can see here, see, because this is all moved inwards, hasn't it? So I'm really looking at this sort of area. So I'm expecting you to have done, if you like, I'll show you differently how we can do this. 104 thousand times 4. That's what I'm expecting you to do. 104, because that's what you went out there to do. And you have 416. So the answer is 416. That's what I'm expecting you to actually do. But you seem to have done better here. So you actually went out there and you actually spent £390,000. Now, really, ultimately, I could have done this differently. I could have said, what's 390,000 divided by 104,000? To actually find out, right? Because you spent, you spent 390,000 hours, 390,000 pounds on 104,000 hours. So if I actually wanted to know how much you spent an hour, it's 390 divided by 104, which is £3.75. So you actually spent 25p less than planned, right? Because the initial plan was to spend £4. It's £4 an hour. So you spend 25p less, and therefore you spend 25p less on 104,000 hours, which is exactly the same thing. 25p times 104,000 hours. Because you see, this is 25p. This is really this, because it really came down. It's just this top I'm looking for on all the hours. That's what you did. 25p less, if you like. So just to show you, there's a number of ways. I hope you, by looking at this, you can see where we're ultimately going. I'm just going to just finally kind of draw out what the graph would look like neatly. Really, ultimately, the graph will really ultimately look like this. Started off with 115. That's what we were expecting at £4. You brought it down to 104. And then you also brought it down again to £3.75. So you actually, we thought you would start, we for 23,000 units, we expected you to start here, A, but you've come all the way down here to B. So we're asking, what is this change? And the change, to analyze the change carefully, we must look at it like this. And we must look at it like this. Right? Which is what we're doing. So the volume variance, or the usage variance, is this difference times, sorry, let me take my red pen here, because we must look at it like this, sorry, forgotten. And then this is because this is the volume variance. It's at the standard, right? So that's the volume you did here. You brought it down. And then the price variance is here, right? On the actual number of units, because that's what you actually went out to buy, those hours. So that's how we analyze this. So please practice this. I think it's good practice. So here we have, I mean, it's the £4 times the difference here of, which is 11,000. That's the volume. And here it's the price variance, which is really the 25p times the 10400. Or again, looking at it differently, just like I said, you 390,000 and then take the £4 and multiply it by your 104,000, and you'll still get, I think it was 416. So the difference will still be, if you like, 26,000. And it's favorable, isn't it? It's favorable. It's a favorable variance. So taking you there, £26,000 favorable C. Right. I believe that's the answer. I haven't checked the answer, but I believe the answer is 26,000 favorable, because you spent less than you should have. Right? You spent less than you should have. I mean, it's quite evident. You spent less than you should have. You used less hours than you should have. So it's favorable. Cool. Great. I hope that's helpful.